Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari Gopi Janavallabha Givara Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari Gopi Janavallabha Givara Jaya Madhava Kunda Bihari Gopi Janavallabha Givara Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Śrīla Prabhupada ki Ananta Kode Vaishnava Vrinda ki Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki Nitai Gaura Premanandi. Oh glories to the assembled devotees. Oh glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. Om Jnanatirmirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadhamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamshta Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tham Sajivam Savetam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padhan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagapate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyaiva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukham Karoti Vachalam Pangulanga Yate Girim Yakripat Maham Bande Shri Gurum Nimataranam Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Śrīmati Vaisheshata Sarikari Namne Nama Prasaya Śrīla Prabhupada Sarine Tasme Shastra Bhaja Cholame Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Śrīmati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nivishesha Shunyamani Pashyatani. Okay, reading from Preaching is the Essence. The key to successful preaching. Oh, yes, Ramrupa read this morning. Let's read the next one. Without being empowered by Krishna, one cannot preach. The empowered preacher can raise the whole world to Krishna consciousness. Srila Ramananda Roy replied to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, "My Lord, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If you like, you can cause even a wooden doll to dance. I see that the truths regarding Transcendental Mellow that you have expounded through my mouth are all explained in the writings of Srila Rupa Goswami. Because of your causeless mercy towards your devotees, you want to describe the transcendental pastimes in Vrindavan. Anyone empowered to do this can bring the entire world under your influence. This passage parallels the statements, Krishna Shakti Vina Nahi Thare Paravartana, which means that unless empowered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, one cannot spread the holy name of the Lord through the entire world." Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antyalila 7:11. Under the protection of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, a pure devotee can preach the holy name of the Lord so that everyone may take advantage of this facility and thus become Krishna conscious. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antyalila 1:203 through 205. So the point is being made here that without being empowered by Krishna, one cannot preach. That's why the first offense to the holy name is to blaspheme those who have dedicated their lives to spreading the glories of the Lord. Because it's an offense because Krishna is empowering the devotee himself. So if we blaspheme the devotee who's engaged in this preaching process, it's basically we're saying, Krishna, you don't know what you're doing. Krishna, what is this? You're giving this devotee this empowerment to do this. Or we're not recognizing that it's actually Krishna using that devotee to propagate his glories around the world. So that's why this is the number one offense, or the first offense that we, as soon as we say the offenses to the holy name, this is the first offense. So Krishna is empowering the devotee to preach. Therefore, it is an offense to blaspheme the devotees who are preaching. On the other side of it, sometimes preachers might be deviated off the path a little bit, but that's why we also have to understand the proper conduct of a devotee. So then we can say the what's wrong, but not like Prabhupada sometimes would, if someone brought up and say some certain philosophy, he would say, okay, what is this philosophy? So in Boston in the early days, there was one point where the temple president and his wife started offering chicken on the altar. And the devotees didn't say anything. Prabhupada came to find out about it. And he said, how come you didn't say nothing? How come you didn't say anything? And the devotees were on this point where that we have to follow the authority. So the authority of the temple, they had deviated off, but we have to understand the principles also of the Krishna consciousness. And we can, if we're unsure about something, then we can confidentially inquire to an authority about a certain point, and then they can make the distinction of whether or not to take action. Yes, Chancho?
So like, I was just wondering, so like, if and so what are the reactions of such an offense, and how does like the preacher take that offense? How does he, how does he take that on, and then what is the reaction for the person who's committing the offense?
So for the preacher, we should always maintain a humble position, thinking, okay, anything that's said against me, I'm such a degraded person, whatever, it's probably true, whatever he's saying. But Krishna doesn't appreciate the offense to the devotee. We see in the case of Ambarish Maharaj and Durvasa Muni. Ambarish Maharaj, he wasn't offended. Okay, and he's just saying like this to me, and he's doing like this. But we see that Krishna then sent his Sudarshan Chakra after Durvasa Muni. So Krishna was furious. And we see in the case of also Nityananda Prabhu, who was cracked in the head with a crepe pie and was bleeding. And Lord Chaitanya was coming with a Sudarshan Chakra and was going to tear apart Jagai Madai. But Lord Nityananda said, hey, my Lord, this is your merciful incarnation. You've come to deliver even the most fallen. So for Nityananda himself, who got cracked over the head, he was, no, it's okay. I'm just accepting this. And then, so to answer your question, the devotee always sees himself as an insignificant servant. So whatever blasphemy or that's coming towards him, directed at himself, he just accepts. Krishna will give some reaction to the person who is committing the offense. There's the Hatimata example that is given in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, which is the mad elephant disease. It's kind of like, of an elephant. Prabhupada gave a couple examples in this. He said like an elephant coming into a garden and just trampling all the plants. And then another example he says is like an elephant entering into a fine china shop. You have these really fine plates and glasswares and everything. And the elephant will just come and just knock everything and ruin it. Of course, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that any advancement made on this path of devotional service is never diminished. So your devotional service will stop for some time for the devotee who is committing the offense. And actually, Krishna will probably take him away from the association of devotees to not let him commit further offenses, which then might prolong his being able to take up again the process of devotional service. So we see sometimes we'll say, hey, where did Gopal go? He was here, he was engaged full on service and he just went away. But like that. So Krishna sometimes, and it's out of mercy ultimately, because Krishna has our best interest in heart. So he does everything for the ultimate good of the devotee. So sometimes he will take a devotee away from the association of devotees so they don't further commit more offenses and prolong their stay in the material world. Thank you for your question. Anyone else? No? No? Okay. So we'll continue on to the verse of today, which is the 32nd verse, I believe. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, 1st canto, 2nd chapter, verse 32. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Śrīla Sanatana Goswami has composed some verses in glorification of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, which His Holiness Keshava Bharati Maharaj recites before reading the Bhagavatam and before any Bhagavatam class he gives. So that hearing these verses first time in his association really made a deep impression on me. So I like to recite them as well. It's said that Krishna, the prayers of the devotees, Krishna will accept. Or if we recite the prayers that devotees have already recited, we know Krishna will accept them. Because their prayers given, like, Brahma Samhita, is a prayers to Lord Brahma. We know Krishna accepted these prayers. So by reciting the prayers of devotees also we can rest assured that Krishna has already accepted his prayers, so hopefully he will accept them from us. Our own prayers are good also. We must develop that mood of prayer, but Krishna may or may not accept our prayer, but the prayers of his pure devotees he accepts. We can practice reciting the prayers of the pure devotees, and that's always for our benefit. Sarva Shastri Viphulasya Sarva Vedhaka Satpala Sarva Siddhantaratnaya Sarva Lokaika Drikpada Sarva Bhagavata Prana Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Prabhu Kali Dhvanta Didotya Shri Krishna Parvivatati. O Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, O nectar churns from the ocean of all Vedic scriptures, you are the most prominent transcendental fruit of the Vedas and are enriched with the jewels of all philosophical conclusions. You grant spiritual vision to all people of the world and are the very life breath of the Vaishnava devotees. O Lord, you are the sun which has risen to dispel the darkness of Kali Yuga. Actually, you are Lord Krishna who has returned among us. Paramananda Pattaya Prema Bhaks Yaksharashate Sarvada Sarvasevyaya Shri Krishnaya Namostutme. O Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, I offer respectful obeisances unto you. By your recitation, one attains transcendental bliss, because your syllables shower down pure love of God. You are to be served by everyone always, for you are an incarnation of Lord Krishna. Mareka bandhumat sangin magurun manmana dhana manastirakya madbhagya marananda namostute. O Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, O my only friend, my companion, and my teacher, O my great wealth and deliverer, O my good fortune and bliss, I offer respectful obeisances unto you. Asadu sadhu todhayin nati nishochara kara hanan muchakadat shidmam premadhit kantaya spura. O Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, O bestower of saintliness to the unsaintly, O uplifter of the most fallen, please never leave me. Accompanied by pure love of Krishna, please manifest yourself in my heart and throat.
Jai. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai.
Text 32. The second chapter, entitled Divinity and Divine Service, the first canto. Yata hi abhita vani dharesu eka swayonesu nanaiva bhati visva atma bhutesu cha tata puman yatayavahito vani dharesu veka swayonesu naneva bhati visvatma bhuteshu tata puman yatayavahito vani dhareshu vekaisvayonishu naneva bhati visvatma bhuteshu tata puman yatayavahito vani dhareshu vekaisvayonishu naneva bhati visvatma bhuteshu cha tata puman yatayavahito vani dhareshu vekaisvayonishu naneva bhati visvatma Bhuteshu cha tata puman.
Yata yavahito vanir.
Yavahito vanir.
Darishveka svayonishu. Naneva bhati vishvatma. Bhuteshu cha tata puman.
Yata yavahito vanir. Parishu vikasvayonishu. Naneva bhati vishma. Bhuteshu cha tata puman. Yata yavahito vanir.
Darushveka Sayonishu Naneva Bhati Vishvatma Bhuteshu cha tata puman Yadri Abhito Vanir
Yata yavahito
vanir.
Darushveka Vaishyonishu
Parishu vikasvayonishu.
Naneva Bhati Vishvatma Bhuteshu cha tata puman
Yata, as much as he, exactly like. Abahitaha, surcharged with. Bhani, fire. Dhareshu, in wood. Eka, one. Swayoneshu, the source of manifestation. Nana iva, like different entities. Bhati, illuminates. Vishva Atma, the Lord as Paramatma. Bhuteshu, in the living entities. Cha, and. Tata, in the same way. Puman, the absolute person. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Śrīla Prabhupada ki. Translation. The Lord as Supersoul pervades all things, just as fire permeates wood. And so He appears to be of many varieties, although He is the Absolute One without a second. Purport. Lord Vasudeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by one of His plenary parts, expands Himself all over the material world, and His existence can be perceived even within the atomic energy. Matter, antimatter, proton, neutron, etc. all are different effects of the Paramatma feature of the Lord. As from wood, fire can be manifested, or as butter can be churned out of milk, so also the presence of the Lord as Paramatma can be felt by the process of legitimate hearing and chanting of the transcendental subjects, which are especially treated in the Vedic literatures like the Upanishads and Vedanta. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is the bona fide explanation of the Vedic literatures. The Lord can be realized through the oral reception of the transcendental message, and that is the only way to experience the transcendental subject. As fire is kindled from wood by another fire, the divine consciousness of man can be similarly kindled by another divine grace. His divine grace, the spiritual master, can kindle the spiritual fire from the wood-like living entity by imparting proper spiritual messages injected through the receptive ear. Therefore, one is required to approach the proper spiritual master with receptive ears only, and thus divine existence is gradually realized. The difference between animality and humanity lies in this process only. A human being can hear properly, whereas an animal cannot. Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai. Translation again. The Lord as Supersoul pervades all things, just as fire permeates wood, and so He appears to be of many varieties, though He is the Absolute One without a second. So Prabhupada, starting this purport, saying that Lord Vasudeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by one of his plenary parts, expands himself all over the material world. And his existence can be perceived even within the atomic energy. And then he goes on to describe the different parts of the atom. In the Brahma Samhita, there's one verse. Eko yasa rachayitam jagananda koti yaschachri asti jagananda chayantarasta adhantarasta paramanu chayantarastam govindamari purusham tamaham pujami. So in this verse, it's described, Lord Brahma is describing that Krishna is within every single atom of the universe. And that purport, His Divine Grace Śrīla Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada says that is why when we engage in the process of chanting the glories of the Lord, the symptoms of ecstasy, if being chanted properly, the symptoms of ecstasy manifest. He's describing in that purport that because Krishna is within every atom, he actually becomes ecstatic. So every atom around you starts to become electrified because Krishna is within every single atom. And because Krishna is within every atom, as soon as he starts to become jubilant, then the devotee also, or the devotee also starts to feel that ecstasy that's coming from Krishna. Because we are parts and parcels of Krishna. We get the Krishna's pleasure. We also, when we work for Krishna's pleasure, we also in turn get that pleasure as a byproduct, meaning that we don't have to work separately for our own satisfaction. Just making Krishna satisfied is in and of itself the reward. So we don't have to work separately, make some separate endeavor, think about what are we going to do, how should we do this. No, we just serve Krishna. And then we were fully satisfied. Actually, interesting, Nimai was asking about this point last night as we were walking home, about the super self. He was asking how is the super self, the question again? You said,
in what sense is the super self the self?
Yeah, so he was asking, in what sense is the super self the self? And the way I explained it to him was according to Śrīla Prabhupada. He mentions in the Bhagavad Gita, Maya Vamsu Jiva Loke, Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. So the conditioned souls, the eternal conditioned souls, are my fragmental parts and parcels. Then, because we're fragmental parts and parcels of Krishna, the ultimate satisfaction we can give to ourselves is satisfying Krishna. So that is how Krishna is the super self, the self of ourself. It's described in the Vedas, the famous example of the two birds sitting in a tree. And there's the living entity, the jiva, which is us, and then there's Krishna, the supreme soul, the Paramatma. And he's sitting and he's watching as we're trying to enjoy the fruits of this material world. And he's always there, just waiting. When are we going to turn towards him to ask him, how can we end this misery and this suffering?
322, I think. That text from Bhagavad Gita, the one with two.
Yes.
It's mentioned. It's an example. It's given in a lot of places.
Previous verse was mentioned to door.
He mentioned. Prabhupada uses this example so much. Yeah, he mentions it here. In the Vedic literatures, it is said that there are two birds in one tree. Yeah, and then it actually gives a reference here, Mundaka Upanishad. Yeah, the verse is right here. So, it's described that Krishna is seated within everyone's heart. Anumanta, Upadasham Anumanta. So he's the overseer and the permitter. So actually all living entities, all the activities they're doing, they're only able to do them because Krishna is allowing them to do it. And because we come to this material world because there's this famous play, Big Fish, Little Fish, because we want to be the big fish. We want to be Krishna. So Krishna says, in this play, this Big Fish, Little Fish, is displaying, depicting, or enacting the living entity coming into the material world,
All of the Jew.
the fall of the jiva, and controversial topic, but the fall of the jiva, and it's describing how the living entity goes to Krishna, and he goes, Krishna, I want to be the big fish. I want to be the man. And Krishna says, no, but you're the little, you're just meant to follow me. You're the little fish. He says, no, I want to be the big fish. He goes, okay, I'll send you somewhere where you can try to be the big fish, but everyone's trying to be the big fish. He goes, you won't like it very much. Oh, really? You can send me somewhere I can be the big fish? I'll send you. You won't like it though. No, please. I want to go. So Prabhupada was giving an example. I was hearing a lecture Prabhupada gave in this class, and he was saying how this is just like the little child who's telling his father, or his father's telling him, son, don't touch the fire, it will burn you. But the son's like, I want to touch the fire. No, don't touch the fire, it will burn you. And then he sticks his hand in and gets burned. Because what happens is the father then says, after some time, the father just relents and says, okay, go ahead. Now you're going to have to learn the hard way. I'm trying to save you so much misery, so much suffering. This is similarly the condition with the Vedic scriptures. They're giving us the warning signs so we don't have to suffer in this material world, or they're giving us the knowledge so we can maneuver our way out of this material world. And Prabhupada's mentioning in this verse, he's saying that he's giving the example of the wood and fire. As fire is kindled from wood by another fire, the divine consciousness of a man can similarly be kindled by another divine grace. His divine grace, the spiritual master, can kindle the spiritual fire from the wood-like living entity by imparting proper spiritual message injected through the receptive ear. So we have to hear from the proper source. And the purpose of this hearing is so we can understand. In the Bhagavad Gita, 4, I'm getting to 434, but I want to say 4.9, which is actually Janma karma teme divyam evam yoveti tatvata tvakpa deham punarjamam naiti mam eti sarjuna. One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance, Janma karma teme divyam, and activities, does not upon leaving the body take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna. So the purpose of our hearing is so we can understand Krishna in truth. And we have to understand this point, that we have to understand who Krishna is, or else we'll take Krishna cheaply, or we'll think we're Krishna ourselves. When we don't understand that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, when we don't understand that Krishna is Ishvara Parama Krishna, Satchidananda Vigraha, Anade Ade Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. He is the cause of all causes, He is the Supreme Controller. We start thinking that this material world is meant for our control, or our enjoyment. We're thinking that the whole universe revolves around us. We're thinking that everyone is meant to give us pleasure. So because of this pride and this misconception, then we suffer. Because when things aren't going our way, then we're like, why is this happening to me? I'm the Supreme. Everything's supposed to happen the way I want it. But no, that's not the case. When we understand that Krishna is Ishvara Parama Krishna, when we understand the truth, Tattva. And this envy of Krishna is said to be the last snare of Maya. So Maya makes us think that, we're the Supreme, and by then hearing the scriptures, like Śrīla Prabhupada, he gave us Krishna book early on. Because in the 10th canto of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, the pastimes of Krishna are described. So his activities, then we actually get to the part where we see that Krishna does things. He has activities, he has friends, he has a family, he has pastimes. Prabhupada gave us the Krishna book with his purports intertwined, so we could properly understand that Krishna is the Supreme. That he lifted Govardhan Hill on one finger when he was 7 years old, on the pinky of his left hand, which the left hand is the weakest hand, and the pinky is the weakest finger. But he did that for 7 days and lifted Govardhan Hill. He killed these big demons when he was just a small child. And he'll continue to do it throughout his life. He manifested himself out of the womb of his mother in his four-handed form of Narayana, Vishnu, and then transformed himself into the small little baby form because his mother asked him, Kamsa is going to come and kill you, so please, hide yourself so Kamsa doesn't hurt you. But Prabhupada gave us these pastimes so that we can understand the greatness of Krishna. So we can understand that Krishna is a person and that we're not him. Am I lifting a hill over my head for 7 days and picking? I don't even remember what I did when I was 7 years old. What to speak of. When I was a baby. Krishna's all his activities he performed. And then this also gives us the understanding by which we can understand others who are falsely promoting themselves to be the Supreme. It's funny, I remember this incident with Mahotsa Prabhu. When people I feel like we used to have more of it in the past, like people coming up saying they were Krishna. Than now. I think the people become a little more pious, maybe. I don't know. After so many years of doing Harinam, but there was this one guy came up and he was saying, "Yeah, I'm Krishna." So Mahotsa starts talking to him in Telugu, and the guy's like, "What do you say?" He goes, "Well, when I talk to Krishna in Telugu, he responds." So like that, Krishna knows all languages. We'll know. I described that Krishna speaks to the birds, he speaks to the animals, and they can understand him. He speaks all languages. That's why you see this Krishna consciousness movement spread all over the world, and everyone loves Krishna. They might not even, in Japan and Russia and, South America, all different places they're attracted. Even when we're distributing books, we meet people where we don't speak their language, but they're attracted to the books, and even they'll take books in English even if they don't speak English. Krishna is so all attractive. So yes, the point is to understand in truth who Krishna is, and then yes, how do we understand in truth is by hearing from. So here Prabhupada says, His Divine Grace, the spiritual master, can kindle the spiritual fire from the wood-like living entity. So in 434, which is the famous verse about the spiritual master, Tatvidi pralipatena praniprasnena sevaya upadikshyanti jnanam janinas tattvadharshinaha. Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master, inquire from him submissively, and render service unto him. The self-realized souls can impart knowledge unto you because they have seen the truth. So the self-realized souls, the spiritual master, they have seen the truth, and then they can impart that knowledge unto us. But we have to render humble service. The spiritual master, he gives us instructions, and we should make the instructions of the spiritual master our life and soul, because we have to perform some activity while we're in this material world. We have to do something. So the spiritual master gives us activities to perform which will purify us. We follow the instructions of the spiritual master, we become purified. In the 7th verse, the 2nd chapter, Arjuna says to Krishna, Karpanya dosapata swabhava prishtami tvam dharma samudacheta yastraya swan nishtatam bruhetam me sishyate ham sadit mam tvam prapanam. Now I am confused about my duty, and I have lost all composure because of my miserly weakness. In this condition I am asking you to tell me for certain what is best for me. Now I am your disciple and a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. So the spiritual master will give us some instruction. And we should hold on to the instruction of the spiritual master as our life and soul. We should think there's nothing else in this world for me to do other than fulfill the instructions of my spiritual master. With every breath, we should be thinking, remembering the instruction of our spiritual master. even if we're not able to, to properly execute whatever we can do to whatever capacity, we should be consumed with the instruction of our spiritual master. When we wake up in the morning, if someone comes in the middle of the night at 12 a.m., shakes you, wakes you up, and they ask you, what's your mission in life? What's your purpose? You should spout out to him the instruction your spiritual master has given you. It should be constantly on our minds. It should be our constant meditation, because this is the way that we'll render service to our spiritual master, and then we'll be able to be qualified to then understand Krishna in truth. Because it is by the mercy of Krishna and the spiritual master that we can actually understand Krishna in truth. It is not, part of it is our own endeavor. Yes, we have to make some endeavor, and we're engaging in this process of sadhana bhakti. We're chanting our 16 rounds. We're following the 4 regulative principles. But ultimately, it's Krishna's mercy and the mercy of the spiritual master which will give us full self-realization. Brahmanda, Brahmite, Kona, Bhagyavana Jiva. Guru Krishna Prasade Bhai, Bhakti Lata Bija. We've been traveling within the Brahmanda, the entire universe, the 14 planetary systems. Life after life. What to speak of just in this one life. I've amassed such a nice credentials to go to all the hellish planets.
Amazing.
Just in this one lifetime.
Wow.
But it's by the mercy of Guru and Krishna that now I have an opportunity to engage in this process of sadhana bhakti, to serve this movement, to get the opportunity to understand Krishna in truth. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We're insignificant parts and parcels of Krishna. How can the infinite be ever known by the infinitesimal? It's only by mercy. It's only by mercy. We can't wrap our head around Krishna. These mental speculators do so many exercises with their minds, but they can never come to understand that Krishna is, Krishna's tu Bhagavan Swayam, the incarnation of the source of all incarnations. They can't understand that Krishna is the little boy playing on the fruit, standing in the 3-bold fending form. A little cowherd boy in Vrindavan, playing with his cows and cowherd boys, charming the gopis, being served by millions and 100,000 of gopis. They can't understand that. They can't understand that he lives in a transcendental abode filled with chintamani, gems, the sand full of stones that fulfill all desires. They can't understand that. They can't understand that he wears the yellow garments, that he has long flowing keshava, long flowing hair. They can't understand these things about Krishna. Because only by the mercy of Guru and Krishna and the devotees can we understand Krishna. And so we've been given this process, this Harinam Sankirtan, and through the chanting of the holy names, we become purified. Chaito Dharpanam Marjanam. Chaito means the heart. Dharpanam is the mirror. Marjanam means to cleanse. So by engaging in this chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, we cleanse the heart. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nama Chintamani Krishna Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Punasiddho Nitya Mukto Abhinatvam Namanamino. I'll give you the exact translation. And in this verse, it's very interesting. We have some places where Prabhupada was in so much ecstasy that he's giving a purport within the translation. So this is one such instance. I'll just pull up the verse here. Here's 1 second. And this is, for those who want to note it down, is the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 17, verse 133. So the verse again is Nama Chintamani Krishnas Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Punasi Dhonita Mukto Abhinatvam Namanamino. The holy name of Krishna is transcendently blissful. So in the verse you can see Krishna is mentioned one time, but then you see Prabhupada's translation of the verse. The holy name of Krishna is transcendently blissful. It bestows all spiritual benedictions, for it is Krishna himself, the reservoir of all pleasure. Krishna's name is complete, and it is the form of all transcendental mellows. It is not a material name under any condition, and it is no less powerful than Krishna himself. Since Krishna's name is not contaminated by the material qualities, there is no question of its being involved with Maya. Krishna's name is always liberated and spiritual. It is never conditioned by the laws of material nature. This is because the name of Krishna and Krishna himself are identical. So when we're chanting the holy names, Krishna is manifesting himself. That's one thing doing this service of Harinam every single day has taught me. Whereas we can see something that's very prominent in our society today is taking the kirtan to be a concert performance. Taking it to be, look how nice I can, sway left to right. My mridanga, swing my flowy hair.
Show my biceps.
But we're not the one that's in the center. Krishna's in the center. This daily going out and worshiping the holy name in this way, we see that. It's freezing cold temperatures in the subways. Why are we there? Why are we there? Because Lord Chaitanya has given the order. Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama. There's no other way, there's no other way, there's no other way. But the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra to be liberated in this age of Kali. Kalir dhosani derajan, asti yeko mahankunan, kirtana eva krishnasya mukta sangha paramnaya. So this Kali Yuga is the ocean of faults. Kalir dhosani derajan, asti yeko mahankunan. But there is one process. Kirtana eva krishnasya. By the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, Mukta Sangha Paramrajay, we get the association of the liberated persons. So that's why we have to properly understand that this Maha Mantra is Krishna himself. And when we're out there doing this service, be in that consciousness and take it very seriously. When we're chanting on the mat, don't space out. Don't think, oh, I got something better to do. We're here, we're worshiping we're worshiping the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the self of ourself. This is our true self-interest. The best thing we can do for ourselves is worship Krishna. Anything else we do will not give us any satisfaction. We will feel empty. We'll feel that something's missing, and we see that all the time. People come up to us when we're distributing books. I had this one lady yesterday, and she was basically in tears, almost saying, she was an older lady. She was saying, my whole life, I've given myself to serve other people. I've been serving everyone my whole life, and I feel like no one's taking care of me. Now I'm sick. I'm becoming blind. She was like almost breaking down. It's like, I don't know what to do. Everyone I've taken care of in my life, they kind of just abandoned me. But Krishna won't abandon us. If we serve Krishna, we dedicate ourselves to the spiritual master, we dedicate ourselves to Krishna, we will surely be protected. Krishna says, my devotee is never vanquished. Sarva dharma parijaja mame kam saranamraja ham tvam sarva pavevya moksha yishami mahasutraha. Just surrender unto me. Abandon all varieties of religion. I shall protect you from all sinful reactions and all fear. Do not fear. Krishna has given us that assurance. No one else can give us that assurance that they will protect us. Look at this lady. I'm sorry, she served her husband, she served her kids, her friends, her family. But nothing. Now they just, she's going blind, she's getting old, and she's like, they just don't care about me. And I taught her the mantra. She said, I can't see. I can't really see too well. She said, can I hear these books on audiobook? So I told her where she can go and hear the books on audiobook. And I taught her the mantra. I said, chant this mantra. This mantra will awaken pure love of God in your heart. And I chanted. I said, can you say Hare Krishna?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna Krishna.
Krishna Krishna.
Hare Hare. Hare Rama. Hare Rama. Rama Rama. Hare Hare. So that is the great. We are the greatest. We are on behalf of our spiritual masters, on behalf of Śrīla Prabhupada, being engaged in the greatest welfare work, which is giving people the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, this transcendental knowledge and Krishna Prasadam. And there's this one part, one of my favorite parts, famous little sections in my Guru Maharaj's book, Our Family Business, which Ramari Prabhu says it's the Bible of book distribution. So anyone who is engaged, is thinking about being engaged, or is even have any connection with book distribution should read this book. And this is not a paid advertisement, but we have it available for $9.99. Today only.
Really?
$10 today only.
Wow.
$10 for that.
For today only. Oh, today only. Whoever's watching online can get it.
Get that.
So this is on page 217. He says, here's an excerpt from the Viraha Astaka 823, written by Śrīla Prabhupada to his spiritual master in a mood of deseparation before coming to America to propagate the Sankirtan movement. He highlights the redemption of the brothers Jagai and Madhai, considered to be the most degraded persons of their time. This is Śrīla Prabhupada. Just as the Lord delivered Jagai and Madhai out of his own causeless mercy, you explain to everyone this same method of preaching work has to go on. The world is now filled up with many Jagais and Madhais to deliver. Everyone is anxiously looking down the road, waiting for Chaitanya and Nitai to come to their rescue. And then my Guru Maharaj continues. He says, dear readers, let us not keep these souls waiting. Let us pick up drums, cartels, and Śrīla Prabhupada's books and go out to meet them today. Let us give them the medicine of the holy names and Krishna's teachings, and thus perfectly and completely execute the Yuga-dharma. Hare Krishna. Thank you all for your kind attention. Any questions, comments, reprimands, Yes, not the Bargaranga.
I wanted to mention something in the Purport Prabhupada says a human being can hear properly. He's talking about the process of hearing. I recently read something really nice. This is a biography of Prabhupada's sannyas guru and godbrother, Keshav Maharaj.
Okay.
He's explaining the difference of the importance of hearing. He's like, okay, suppose there's a ripe mango in front of us.
Yeah.
The eyes will see it, you can touch it, your nose can smell it, your tongue can taste it, but your ears have no connection with these other four senses. So whatever subject matter the ears comprehend is completely beyond the perception of the remaining four knowledge-acquiring senses. Wow. In other words, these four senses we have are helpless and have no connection with it, but the ears comprehend the words. So that's why the Sadguru gives transcendental sound vibration, Sabda Brahma. He first, before giving Sabda Brahma, he first purifies the disciple with Hari Katha. Then he gives Shabda Brahma in the form of Shri Harinam and Diksha mantras. So all the senses, the ear is the most beneficial
for
us. That's why we hear. Because now all our senses are engaged in enjoying.
Yeah.
We don't have transcendental senses. Transcendental senses means they're engaged in Krishna's enjoyment.
Right.
Which that kind of answers your question of how is Krishna the self of ourself. Our senses are meant for his enjoyment, but we're engaging them not in his enjoyment. Therefore, we're in Maya.
Yeah.
But if we somehow do that, then we can actually perceive that, like feeding the stomach, if the hand's trying to just feed itself, the hand's not going to get much enjoyment. But
right. How much pleasure
in the mouth, then it's really going to get strength. So we'll really get actual bliss, actual enjoyment if we engage in that. And so it's that.
Yeah. And just on that point, that was really nice. You were talking about the different living entities. There was one I was reading a lecture by Śrīla Prabhupada that he was giving in the 16th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, and there was this really nice little part here where he talks about the people in general today, which actually most people, they can, he makes the point here in the last part of the purport. He says, therefore one is required to approach a proper spiritual master with receptive ears only, and thus divine existence is gradually realized. The difference between, how do you say it? Animality and humanity lies in the process only. A human being can hear properly, whereas an animal cannot. And Prabhupada is interesting. He talks here in the he's giving this class, and he says they'll understand. I'm just pointing out the difficulties of your preaching. You'll have to face all these difficulties. They're like cats and dogs. They're not even human beings. Therefore, your business is a little hard job. You have to deal with cats and dogs. But still, there is hope, because they have got this human form of life. There is hope. It is not hopeless. Don't be disappointed. But this is the job. You have to meet with cats and dogs. That is my point. When you go to preach, you must know that I've come to preach among cats and dogs. And I have to deal with them carefully. Otherwise, they will bark. This is Prabhupada giving class in... I'll give you the exact class. After the class, I'll give you the class. And then Prabhupada laughs and he says, therefore, I wrote that poetry in disappointment before entering your country. What will they understand, this philosophy? And why did I bring that up?
Well, it's like Prabhupada.
Oh, okay.
Come to my classes, that's all you need.
Yeah, so Prabhupada has said that, yeah, we open all these centers to give people a chance to come in here. So this is, we give people a chance to come in here and engage in the hearing process and get out of the animal consciousness. Prabhupada actually, on the giving class on this verse, Punya Shravana Kirtana, he said in the class, this is why we're standing out our Harinam Sankirtan parties. Punya Shravana. He says we're creating their pious activity by force. Because when people walk by the Harinam, they're becoming pious. They're gaining pious credit. Just by hearing the holy name of Krishna, just by being in the area where the holy name is being chanted. So Prabhupada said, this is why we're sending out our Harinam Sankirtan parties in the public. So we can benedict the whole humanity. Because whoever comes by and hears the chanting is benefited. Whoever walks by the area where we chanted is benefited. So and their piety is gradually increased. So then they can come to the point where they'll have a desire to hear. And when they hear, then when you hear properly, then you can understand. When you hear properly, you can surrender to the spiritual master. Then the spiritual master will instruct you on how to engage in the process of devotional service. And by engaging in the process of devotional service, then you'll come to the point where you can understand Krishna in truth by the mercy of Krishna and the spiritual master. Okay, any other questions? Not the bar? I have another question.
Remind me another point that...
Okay, go ahead.
It's also good for us. It says the speaker and the audience are very intimately connected. This is in Teachings of Lord Chaitanya when Sanatana Goswami is asking him to explain the Amaram verse. And Mahaprabhu's like, I don't understand why Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya so much appreciated my explanation. As far as I'm concerned, I don't really remember what I said. But because you're asking me, I shall, with the help of your association, try to explain whatever I remember. So like, the spiritual master is kind of like, he's like a conduit, and the amount of current that will come through him is completely dependent on our reception to it. So you'll notice when there's like, an ecstatic devotee can be giving a class, but if there's ecstatic devotees trying to listen, then it'll be even more. More nectar will come out.
Kadamba Karnamraj was giving that point the other day where he said like when a devotee who's on a higher level of devotional service is actually engaging in the process. For example, like if he chants or if he gives a Bhagavatam class, the Bhagavatam class becomes an event. Everyone becomes enlivened by the class. You're sitting in the class and you can stay awake and you're like, wow, that's amazing. You just say, we have these people we listen to. Anytime they're going to speak, you're just like, this is going to be amazing. Or when we hear a certain kirtan, when we hear a certain kirtan leader and they're chanting the Mahamantra is coming to life and it's lifting everyone up.
I think it's also for us, we can like say that, it's my personal responsibility to take the Bhagavatam class seriously and whatever hearing I do seriously.
Right.
That way, if you go to the Bhagavatam class and kind of just like, oh damn, this sucks, I hate Bhagavatam class, I don't want to be here. Then Krishna's going to reciprocate and like the speaker's going to like fumble with their words and like not make any sense, and it's like you're going to fall asleep. But if you go there like, I don't care that I'm tired, I want to make it, I want to hear something, Krishna please, and you're like yearning for that.
Right.
And they can even empower like someone that doesn't really know her. They'll say something that's like remarkable and like
even a dumb and lame person like myself, by the mercy of the spiritual master, can speak elegant words.
I just wanted to make everyone enthusiastic.
Anything else? No? We're good? Okay. Hare Krishna. Thank you all for your kind attention.
Gopal Champu Prabhu.
Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanandi, Hari Hari Bo, Vanchakalpatarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhubhyaiva cha, Patitanam Pavnebhyo, Vaishnavibhyo, Namo Namaha.